Ahmad al-Sharaa was once a name whispered in fear, a man with a $10 million bounty on his head. Today, he stands as a pivotal figure in the Middle East's intricate political landscape. The transformation of al-Sharaa, from the leader of a group branded as terrorist to a prominent negotiator, speaks volumes about the volatile nature of the Syrian conflict and the shifting alliances within the region. His journey embodies the dramatic turns of fortune that have come to characterize the Syrian war. Al-Sharaa's rise to prominence coincides with the downfall of Bashar al-Assad's regime, a moment many thought impossible just a few years ago. The Syrian civil war, a brutal conflict that has raged for over a decade, has seen countless lives lost and millions displaced. The recent rebel victories culminating in the overthrow of Assad mark a turning point in this protracted conflict. The swiftness of the regime's collapse surprised many international observers. However, a confluence of factors, including dwindling support for Assad, the rebels' strategic alliances, and the changing geopolitical dynamics in the region, contributed to this dramatic shift in power. The road ahead for Syria remains fraught with challenges. Al-Sharaa and the rebel coalition face the daunting task of rebuilding a nation shattered by years of war and mistrust. The international community, once wary of engaging with al-Sharaa, now finds itself seeking his cooperation. The transition from pariah to partner highlights the pragmatic approach adopted by global powers in navigating the complexities of the Syrian crisis. The question remains, however, whether al-Sharaa can consolidate his power, unite the fractious rebel groups, and establish a stable and inclusive government in Syria. The Syrian civil war, a conflict that has captivated and horrified the world in equal measure, is rooted in the complex interplay of social, political, and economic grievances. The uprising, which began in 2011 amidst the Arab Spring, quickly escalated into a full-blown civil war, pitting the government forces of Bashar al-Assad against a diverse array of rebel groups. The conflict's early days were marked by peaceful protests, met with a brutal crackdown by Assad's security forces. As the violence escalated, Syria descended into chaos, with various factions vying for control of the country. The conflict's multifaceted nature is evident in the array of actors involved, including local militias, Kurdish groups, and foreign powers with their own strategic interests. The Syrian people have borne the brunt of this devastating conflict. Millions have been displaced, both internally and externally, seeking refuge in neighboring countries and beyond. The conflict's impact extends far beyond Syria's borders, with the refugee crisis straining resources and fueling political tensions in host countries. The overthrow of Assad's regime marks a significant turning point in the Syrian conflict. Yet it remains to be seen whether this will pave the way for a lasting peace or simply usher in a new chapter of violence and instability. The road to peace in Syria will be long and arduous, requiring reconciliation, reconstruction, and a commitment to justice for the countless victims of this devastating war. Turkey, a country geographically and historically intertwined with Syria, has found itself walking a tightrope throughout the Syrian civil war. Sharing a long border with Syria, Turkey has faced the brunt of the refugee crisis, with millions of Syrians seeking refuge within its borders. This influx has placed a significant strain on Turkey's resources and social fabric. Ankara's policy towards the Syrian conflict has been characterized by a complex mix of strategic interests and humanitarian concerns. Turkey has provided support to various rebel groups, seeking to counter both the Assad regime and the growing influence of Kurdish forces in northern Syria. The rise of al-Sharaa presents both opportunities and challenges for Turkey. On the one hand, Turkey sees al-Sharaa as a potential partner in stabilizing the region and stemming the flow of refugees. On the other hand, Ankara remains wary of the rebel leader's past and his ability to unite the disparate factions under his command. The recent developments in Syria have placed Turkey in a delicate position. Turkey must now navigate the complexities of engaging with a new power structure in Syria, while safeguarding its own interests and ensuring the security of its borders. The success of Turkey's balancing act will depend on its ability to engage in constructive dialogue with all relevant actors, including al-Sharaa's rebel group, and to play a constructive role in facilitating a political solution to the Syrian crisis. The rapid advance of the Syrian rebels, culminating in the overthrow of Bashar al-Assad, can be attributed in part to a power vacuum that emerged in the region. Russia and Iran, traditional allies of the Assad regime, found themselves increasingly preoccupied with other geopolitical priorities, limiting their ability to prop up the faltering Syrian government. Russia's military intervention in Ukraine, launched in early 2022, diverted significant military resources and attention away from Syria. The conflict in Ukraine, which has evolved into a protracted war of attrition, has forced Moscow to reevaluate its strategic priorities, with Syria taking a backseat to the more immediate concerns of its western borders. Iran, facing its own set of economic and political challenges, also scaled back its involvement in the Syrian conflict. The tightening of international sanctions, coupled with internal unrest, limited Tehran's ability to provide the same level of financial and military support to the Assad regime that it had in previous years. The absence of robust Russian and Iranian backing created an opportunity for the Syrian rebels to exploit. The rebels, sensing the shifting tides, launched a series of strategic offensives, capitalizing on the weakened state of the Syrian army and the lack of external support. The rebels' rapid advance, while surprising to many, underscores the fluid nature of the Syrian conflict and the importance of external actors in shaping the balance of power.